Welcome to the Uncommon Human Podcast, where we help you perform the common uncommonly well. Your coach for all things physical and spiritual is Derek Del Rosario, who for 25 years has brought transformation to thousands of clients. With God's help, Coach Derek has overcome many adversities on his own journey of faith and fitness, and now he's the owner of Fit to Serve Fitness in Henderson, Nevada. Having discovered tennis at a young age, he excelled at the amateur, intercollegiate, and professional levels. Afterwards, he discovered the sport of CrossFit, and by 2019 had ranked #1 CrossFitter for the state of Nevada in his division. Having achieved all this, Coach Derek now considers himself an ambassador for Christ to help you in your journey to become the uncommon human through faith and fitness. Here with today's podcast is Coach Derek.
Hello, everyone. How's it going? Well, here it is. Uncommon Human, podcast number 1. We're going to get into what does the uncommon even mean? What does it look like? But it's performing the common uncommonly well. Are you doing that today? Do you even know what does that look like in your life? Well, we're going to go through the series through what it looks through the Fit to Serve method in the series to come. But today I want to go over a little bit of who I am, a little bit about my story. The full version of the story, the reenactment, you guys might have seen it, but it's on YouTube. It's called Overcoming Adversity by Derek Del Rosario. But I'm going to touch a little bit on maybe some of the things that aren't in that video, maybe some things that are in the video as well, depending on how great Rabbit Trail and I get going. My name is Derek Del Rosario, and I have an amazing wife, Anna Marie Del Rosario. We have 3 amazing kids. We have Madison, Christopher, and Alyssa, and 3 amazing grandkids. Look behind me. Michael, Mason, and Chloe. Family is huge for my wife and I, and how God has instilled this biblical marriage, and it's only by the grace of God, a miracle, right? That I get to walk through this journey with my wife and get to share what God has called us to do together, knitted together, right, as a team. And so, but before this is, this has taken some years to get to this point, to the uncommon human and fit to serve and, becoming fit physically and spiritually to serve others. But it all starts back. All of our journeys and our calling in life starts back in, I believe, in our youth, as what we see, our worldview as a kid growing up, and kind of shapes and molds who we are. We get to go through adversity. We get to go through some trials. We get to see different things. We all see different things, right? Our story is so unique. Everyone's story is unique, right? But I remember growing up, my parents divorced at an early age. Right then, we're living at a deficit with the mom can't do what the father can do what the mother can do. And my family on our Filipino side, big family, right? Doing all kinds of things together. But my mom moved to San Diego, and when we moved with her, I wanted to move with my dad. I wanted to stay with my father. And we had, on my mother's side, an uncle that watched us at night when my mom went to work, and he was abusive to my brother and I. And there would be nights that we would throw down the stairs in our condo, wash our mouth out with soap, handcuff us in the corner. We would stay there just wanting to go to bed, and he'd whip our legs and not letting us go to bed. And just painful nights, not just physically, but emotionally. And that pain carried on, because I carried that pain in me. And I had a lot of anger inside. A lot of anger was built up, and to a point that I couldn't handle it anymore. I wanted to move with my dad's, and I lit my mom's couch on fire and lit the condo on fire. And at that point, she allowed me to move back to my dad's. And inside that process, that I thought that, things are going to be just great. But, well, I was still living with this pain, this abandonment, not my mom's abandoning, but it just feeling like something was missing, right? I didn't have both my families, and I was in this situation that I was hurt, and I was taken advantage of, I felt, by my uncle, and I needed to find a way of escape, and God opened up that door. And so moved back to my grandmother's house where my dad was living, and not only him, but other uncles and aunts who were divorced as well. So we're raised in this family with cousins and aunts and uncles, and we're living in this 1,300 square foot home, like 15 people, chaos, right? Chaos. And I remember my brother and I sharing like a 10 by 10 room, my dad and I and my brother. Like to do homework, sometimes we would just hang out in the bathroom. That was probably the quietest place, and to do some homework and just hang out. But there was a lot of enjoyment times because there was always something going on. There was never a quiet time. We were always up to something. But I remember in those days that I had cousins, and they were in and out of prison, and I was around that kind of environment. I was on the streets, and I looked up to those guys. Those were my mentors. They're like, that's who I wanted to be with. I didn't have anyone really around me, to guide and direct me with this anger built up. And I was going down that route, and a lot of my friends were in gangs and shootings. And I knew that I was going down that route, right? I was introduced to the game of tennis in the third grade. And what an amazing time, because at that time I wanted to be around my father. We went to this tennis club called Meadowbrook, and I just wanted to be there every single day. When he got off work, I'd hit a few tennis balls. Well, that first summer, I spent all summer at this club called Meadowbrook. I spent all summer. I started having a knack for tennis. People started saying, hey, you're pretty good at this game. You need to start playing more. By the age of 12, I was ranked in the state and nationally, and played 14s and 16s and high school. I had to make a decision. Am I going to go to Seaside High or Monterey? Monterey is across, the city. And I lived pretty much right across the street from Seaside High. I should have went there. But people in my life were saying, hey, you probably need to go here. The trouble you're getting in, the things that you're doing, this is going to set your path to go in college. And they were right. They knew my tendencies. They knew what I was getting involved with. And that allowed me to go to San Jose State, full ride scholarship. Did not have good grades. I was a faulting student, right? And it was all my fault. I thought, you know what? I'm going to play tennis forever. I'm going to play professionally. I don't need school. And missed out on a lot because I had scholarships to UCLA, Pepperdine, Stanford, all these letter intents from pretty much my sophomore year through high school, but didn't have the grades, didn't have the SAT scores, right? Had to sit out my first year at San Jose State. I had a full ride, but I had to sit out and redshirt. This means I got to practice with the team, but I didn't get to play. So that next year I got to play. I was playing number 2 singles, 1 doubles, which was awesome because I got to play against all these schools that I couldn't go to, and I had some great wins over them. So that was amazing that the Lord even gave me that opportunity to play at that level, and got to play professionally after college, got to go out and play a little bit, and got hurt, came back to Monterey, started teaching tennis, met my wife, met through a mutual friend. Here's the crazy thing. My wife and I went to the same school, Monterey High. She was a senior. I was a freshman. We didn't even know each other. So we met after when I was in college. We got introduced by a mutual friend, and yeah, we hit it off. It was so great. We just got to experience a lot of these cool things together and got to reminisce about, a lot of the same friends that we had. But shortly, I was getting tired of teaching tennis. And I said, you know what? I want to move somewhere else, do something different. I'm going to move to Vegas. So I picked up Borders book. That's how old, there wasn't really internet. There was newspapers. I got to see the newspapers, Borders book. There was a job teaching pro tennis and personal training at Club Sport. At that time, that was one of the bigger clubs here in Vegas. It's about 1998-ish. Yes, right around there. I told my wife, girlfriend at the time, hey, I'm going to Vegas. She says, hey, if you make it for 6 months, then we'll come out. And so I did that. But getting there, I had $200 in my pocket, $300 in the bank. Had to sleep in the car for my interview. Didn't want to waste any money, and showered in the country club. I was used to do that. I did it a few times in the juniors as well, growing up, but got the first interview. So the second interview I had the next day. So I stayed in the car again, got the job, and then what happened was now I had to find, where am I going to live? And so there's a room for rent, Whitney Ranch. 2 college guys had a room for rent, $300 a month. I didn't have the money. Somehow I convinced them to let me stay with them. I'll get paid in 2 weeks. I work right up the street, guys. Come on. I'll do your food prep. I'll do your nutrition, your fitness schedule. They're like, yes, absolutely. So got to do that. My wife came out shortly after. We stayed in Oasis Cliffs, right down the street from Club Sport, right? These apartments. And shortly after, I went to like an independent gym as well. It's called Dedication. Started building up a good clientele. Shortly after, in 2000, opened up our first health club called Lady of America. In there, had a rough business partner outing there, closed it down in 2002. Things went really well. And in that time, I got my real estate license, 2002. Got to utilize my real estate license with all the members I had there. Quite a bit of them bought homes, and I was seeking out who can teach me real estate, who's the best in the business. And I sought out Mike Ferry, those of you guys who know, and I was taught at a young age in business to some wait for business, some go after business, or some buy business. And so Mike Ferry is, you go after business, door knocking, expired listings, for sale by owners. It was, how many doors can you go knock on? How many times can someone hang up on you, and getting through the script, right? All the time. And so that taught me a lot. Building up, all I wanted to do is gain riches, right? I came from not really having much at all, having friends that had all these things. Trying to really fill that void. Remember, that anger, that void was inside of me. Never really reconciled this relationship with my mother. Still had bad feelings. Never really talked to my mom through junior high, high school, through like consistent conversation. So this is just building and building in me. And I just want to, and so we were on our path to doing that. We had like 20 rentals, and we know in 2008, the real estate market crashed, and we lost everything. We lost our, even our own home. Our cars were getting repoed out of our driveway, right? We just wanted things, right? I wanted things, and I remember them all being taken away. What a blessing in disguise. At the time, it didn't seem like that, but God spoke to me. God spoke to me, saying that, I want you to get back sharing your story. Like, Lord, what? Sharing the pain, the hurt, things that you're just hiding inside of you. I need you to share that. And so my wife was working at Mandalay Bay, and I was at home. I didn't have a job, so I just hang out. What did I do? I read the Bible. I got in God's word. I continued to read his word, and he started slowly changing my heart. And he told me, quit telling your wife what to do, how to do it. You go do it yourself. So I started walking to church. There's a church right up the street called Calvary Chapel, Green Valley. I started walking there, and all I wanted to do was get involved with anything. Set up, tear down the church, choir, men's Bible study, all kinds of things. Anything that came out, I got involved with. I didn't want to go into my own lifestyle. I want to stay, the peace that passes all understanding. It was like, wow. So this was a time that the Lord was shaping and molding my life. But he said that to me, and I knew so clearly that what he wanted me to do. But there was still that little bit of like uncertainty. So I got to share it with my wife. And at the time, our relationship was rocky, because through this whole thing, it was like, oh my gosh, what's going to go on with our marriage? And I remember getting, my wife getting called back from her mom and saying, he's supposed to be the head of the home and supposed to be, be able to provide, financially. And the Lord just gave me the words of saying, I tried to do that physically. Look what it ended up with. Now I'm going to be the head spiritually, the spiritual head. And I never knew what that meant, what to do, what steps to take. But I knew the Lord speaking so loud and clear in my life that, if I trusted in him, that he'd see it all out. If I just continue to follow what he was telling me to do, I would be okay. Because it was a peace. It was that comfort that I felt, not because I had things, and things were being taken left and right from me, but I felt like I had everything. You ever feel that way? Like all the things around you have nothing, but you feel like you have everything. I felt strong. And God started showing me little by little. 6 months later, I invited my wife to church. She said, yeah. She came to church, and all the people at the front of the church would say, hey, Derek, brother, how's it going? And she looks at me like, how do you know these guys? And I got to share with her, I've been coming here for 6 months. I've been hanging out here. And that started this journey. We shortly, right after that, 2009, got involved with the junior high youth ministry at Calvary Chapel. For 9 years, we served. We wanted to pour into that next generation because my wife and I, we came from single family homes. We wanted to pour in to the kids. We developed a program called Exposing Kids to Greatness. If I was never exposed to tennis, I would never have got to experience that journey of it. And so we wanted to expose kids to things that they wouldn't have been exposed to. And so we aligned Christian mentors with those kids that come from a single family home. And so that was the foundation and the starting of grooming us, our character, what God was going to do with us for the years to come. And 2011, I got involved with CrossFit, joined CrossFit, Max Effort. I knew right away that whereas God was calling me to do, he wanted me to pour in the next generation. He wanted to use fitness. He wanted to use my talents and my gifts with fitness. And now the love of Christ to pour into other people. And so Zach Forrest, Max Effort, I told him right away, hey, I'm here. I'm going to train. I know you guys don't have a kids program, but that's what I'm going to start doing. Come on in. He loved it. And, months later, he looked at kind of the certifications his coaches had, and he goes, Derek, you have more certifications than all of our coaches. I just kept filling myself with more knowledge, more understanding about how God is going to use fitness and my faith to be able to share the gospel. And it started getting clearer and clearer and clearer. 2013, we opened our first gym, and we've been walking through it ever since. We've been walking through this journey. And, there's a lot of adversity that comes our way, but adversity causes some to break and others to break records. And I remember having that posted in our first gym, and it's so true. You may be facing adversity in your life. You may be going through things, but as you look back in your story, God has always been faithful to bring us through, right? It's for us to stand up, knowing to be obedient to the calling. And so as we went through this journey and moving from gym to gym to gym, God started shaping the Fit to Serve method. He started shaping and molding this beautiful thing of how we use fitness as the bridge to share Christ. And the beautiful thing of this story of the pain and all of this I've been going through, it's only through God that he was able to mend my heart, soften my heart, got to reconcile my relationship with my mom. And took some years, but we go to church together, we hang out together, and got to talk about all the things that I went through as a kid. And only because of the grace of God, I've been able to share that with her and reconcile. And God wants us to reconcile those relationships that we have with our family members or friends, or he wants us to give them grace, just like he gives us grace. Right? Forgiveness is where it's at. Are we forgiving those around us? And so that's, this journey, I'm super excited. I'm super excited these next steps where God has us. It's 2022. These last few years, we've gone through some crazy times and having to pivot and move around. But, God wants us to be mobile. He wants us to be flexible. He wants us to be able to move. When he says move and it doesn't make sense to the world, we're to move, right? And so this journey that God is sharing with me to share with you about being that uncommon human, about performing the common uncommonly well by as we go through of living this extraordinary life through faith and fitness. I want to share with you. I want to share with you a lot of these intricate little life events in my life that I got to experience, got to walk in. And I haven't perfected any of it. I'm learning just like you. I might have a few more years on the job training, but I want to just share with you what God's been sharing with me, and let us walk through this together. And yeah, let's just see what takes place next. I'm super excited for our next podcast 1. Maybe it's not the most exciting, but I wanted to share a little bit about me, a little bit about the journey that I have had. And the journey goes on. The journey goes on. The journey is much sweeter than the arrival, right? It is much sweeter than arrival, because when we arrive, that pride comes in and say, you know what? I got it all. Look at me. No, that's the lie of the enemy. So let's enjoy this journey. Let's continue this journey. Podcast number 2, The Uncommon Humans, coming up. That's a wrap for podcast number 1. God bless.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video as much as possible. And visit our exclusive Facebook community where Derek offers training videos and other valuable content to help you grow through faith and fitness. And don't miss out on a free 12-week nutrition guide. Just go to smiletoday.fitness. That's smiletoday.fitness.